Hey, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Today is Friday, February 27th. It is Friday, February 27th. Friday. It's Friday. It's Friday. It's February 27th, 2026. It is the day after Doomsday. It's hey, everybody. This is Brian at Pray Trade Repeat. My channel is called Pray Trade Repeat. I discuss stocks. Specifically today, we're going to discuss IXHL, sometimes a day trade, swing trade. Today, we're looking at Inconnex Healthcare Inc., which is a pretty exciting stock to follow if you haven't been. Let me get this chart up for everybody on YouTube. Hey, everybody. Good morning. Hello. Let me get the chart up. The chart's making a move right now. Actually, let's take a look at it. I keep doing that. I don't know if that's working. There it is. Okay, chart's up. Can you guys hear me? Can I get anyone to jump in the chat and say that you can hear me? That would be great. Just to double check. So I'm Brian. This is Pray Trade Repeat. Thanks. Can you hear me, Daniel? Yes, I'm Brian at Pray Trade Repeat. This is Pray Trade Repeat on YouTube. Pray Trade Repeat Pray Trade Repeat on YouTube. Pray Trade Repeat on TikTok. What's up, TikTok? I trade stocks. I pray. I trade. Repeat. Do the same thing. Everything's a daily reprieve. The word reprieve means a postponement of death. Postponement of death. Right. So we almost had the death yesterday with the reverse stock split. So pray, trade, repeat. Here we are. It is Friday. It's February 27th. It's 8:37 a.m. We got a couple questions already here, and we're going to get into them right now. Daniel says, hey, do you think IXHL will utilize their buyback with this low float? Nothing has shown us that he will do that yet. Hey, Brian. Yeah, we can hear you great. What's up, guys? Dark and silence, loud and clear. Thanks, guys. Weren't they supposed to release some news? You know what? I just noticed too on major brokerage sites like Merrill Edge, like my account is zeroed out and it's adjusting. Like I don't even know if I can trade it at all today if I wanted to. So I wouldn't necessarily. I mean, I don't know. You guys know. I don't know the answers to that question, but I think it's still in an adjustment phase. So somebody said, Daniel asked a great question though. Let's get back to Daniel's question. Do you think they're going to use the buyback with this low float? I think that's a great. Actually, now that I've reread your question, Daniel, twice. Yeah, the low float. Yeah, why wouldn't you use it with the low float? Let's see if we get attacked. I think that's what today's about. You know, we're going to see how the shorts. I mean, look, if you look at this chart right now, I'm going to move the chart around. I'm going to go back to the trading view. I don't know if you guys can see the screen moving, but if you look at the chart now, so the chart adjusted itself, right? So our prior, I'll move to the day candles in a second, but for now, as you can see, the coil has been, we had that reverse stock split announcement. It went down here, and it's been coiling again, just like it was coiling at higher levels, right? So everything has changed. Obviously, we're now trading at $4.90. We're trading in the upper half of this price box that I created. It's not an orb. It's not an original range breakout price box, which people normally use this price box for. What it is it's this. It's the low of all of these few days of trading. So like the lowest we've been is 426. The highest we've been is 540, right? So I'm using these as kind of support and resistance right now, just to keep an eye on this. And we're going to see where it goes. But this always gives you a great idea. It always gives me, so when I look at this right now, anything can happen, right? But we're in now, this is the 15-minute candles, and we're in, everybody on TikTok, we're discussing IXHL, Inconnex Healthcare Inc. It's a company that came up with the first ever oral sleep apnea pill. And it's in phase 2-3. They're about to announce the phase 2 readout with the FDA and what they're going to do about phase 3. That's coming any day now. So this is a massive opportunity. It's coiling. It just did a reverse stock split, and probably more people held on through the split than any other stock ever, probably. And Yeah, so you see, so these are 15-minute candles, and from the price box that I have, just while I'm starting to begin to map out support and resistance, I have support at 426. I have resistance at 540. I want to see it pop through that 5.40, and then let's see if we can return to what was previously the $30 range, which would, I mean, the 30-cent range, which would be up here in the 7s or 8s. So we want to see it get back. At least we want to see, we're hoping for a move back into the $8 range today, which would only be back to, 28 cents pre-split, right? So that's what we're looking at today on the chart. So that's just just to get a general idea. And I'm going to go back to the questions now. But you can see this. Look at the coiling. So there's no breakdown of structure. It's the same kind of coiling. It's the same kind of price action, right? There's no massive moves down. There's no giant short. I'm not sure what the short volume is right now, but right now, if you look at my price box that I created, again, it's not an orb. It's not an original range breakout price box. It's a somewhat of support and resistance. 426 is support. 540 is resistance. That's what I have mapped out after the split. And it looks like we're trading in the top half of that box. That's bullish to me, regardless of the colors of the candles, So that's really bullish. I mean, we're here now at 2 hours and 11 minutes into trading, and we have not gotten flushed, which is pretty exciting. What's up, everybody? What's going on TikTok? So this is Trade Repeat. Let me show you guys what we're looking at today. We're looking at the chart over here on YouTube. I'm live on YouTube as well. If you want to see the chart, I'm live on YouTube as well. Let's get some questions in. Okay. Great. Okay. I meant stock was halted pending news release, but now no news. Oh, I don't know. And let's go back to talking about Joel. I made a decision that when I decided that I was going to hold on to this stock, come hell or high water, no matter what happens. And believe me, my account went from having $38,000 in it to now having under $7,000, guys. 38,000 to 6,000 something is in my brokerage account right now. So if you think that I'm not upset, you're out of your mind. I am absolutely 100% upset with the way that the management handled the capital structure, but it's not productive. It's not conducive to sit here and commiserate on that. It's more productive to think about, what is the strategy? Let's get together. Let's talk about some positive stuff. Let's talk about the strategy of the company. One of the things that I was thinking about today, when I was thinking about earlier, is look at the people that held, right? And you have to think Daniel says halt. Was there a halt right now? Yeah, the stock halt code T1, which indicates pending news. It should be bin code M1. Oh, I don't know what you guys are talking about. Let's get right into this. So I meant stock halted pending news, but not. Hey, Brian, nice to see you back in. Hey, William. I think you held. Yeah, I held my position. I had to sell some. I had to sell. I had originally 50,000. I have 40,000 now. Well, of course, nobody has 40,000 anymore. I have 1,333. That was what my 40,000 shares were turned into. I had to sell some of it because I had to pay for acting class car insurance, parking. You know what I mean? I had to dude, we got obliterated. So anyway, so it's good. It's good that we have we survived the nuclear blast of the last couple of days, right? Yeah, man. Anyway, so let's see. Going back over here. What's up, Chris? William? Yeah, we survived the nuclear blast. It's and we're all here, and we're all the survivors of the nuclear blast. Look at the stock right now. See, it's coiling back up. We have a huge bullish candle. We got another one. It's trading above it's trading at the top of the VWAP right now at 4.93. William says he held 49,000 shares, still holding. Yeah, me too. Now 1,600. Right now, mine's now 1,333. Other stocks which were reverse split today had a T1 code. We busted that myth on StockTwits this morning. Yeah, so the other thing I was thinking about too is like, okay, so why does the company do it a month and a half early? And if from that perspective, my channel's called Pray, Trade, Repeat. I always get up, the first thing I do when I open my eyes is pray and meditate for a while before I even look at the emails, any of the SEC things coming through to my emails, anything. I take time to just clear my head and get and think. And so this morning I'm thinking about, what could be possibly going on in the company's head. And I'm thinking to myself, well, it must be news. It must be that they understand, or either that news is coming, or they have good news, or they're happy with what they're about to do in phase 3, and there has to be some sort of motivation from the company to think like, okay, we're going to do this because we have to pay for what's coming, which is going to be obviously is going to be PSX001, the synthetic psilocybin drug. They're doing actual brick and mortar build outs in places like Australia and other places. And then also, whatever the phase 2, 3 is with that. You have I think it's IXHL 675A, which is the rheumatoid arthritis drug. It's the biggest addressable market cap there is, $42 billion. And now that's back on the table, right? Which is very interesting. So, and then you had, IHL 42X, obviously the number one asset. That's what we're all waiting for on the news on that. So you have to think, okay, so you have a quarterly burn rate. Remember the quarterly burn rate was like $9 million last year, $6 to $9 million. Now it's like 3 to 6. And I'm guaranteeing you it's going to change again, And yeah, so it's very frustrating. Hey, everybody. It's very frustrating with this company, with Joel, with, the way they're managing the capital structure. From our optics, from our point of view, it's pretty frustrating. You look at it and you're like, why are they taking so much of our cash off the table? And then we do this reverse split a month and a half early, and you ask yourself why. Okay. So what I was thinking about, getting back to that thought, I meditated or prayed this morning. I thought about was I think they're thinking to themselves like, yeah, they don't want us here. It's in a way, it's like when you do when or it's not like specifically that they're out to get us or anything, but they did not expect us to hold through this. Something big is coming, guys. Something big is coming. It's about to come. It may not come today. It may come after hours. Somebody's checking my availability for casting. I gotta check this real quick. It may not come today. It may come after hours. I'm an actor, so I get these things for casting calls, and I have to respond to them really quickly. So sorry to interrupt that. So it may come today after hours, some news. It may come next week, but they're preparing for something big. You have been invited to. You're available. I don't know when that is. Available. Submit to job. Okay, just give me 1 second, guys. I'm so sorry. Have you worked previously? Oh, sorry, guys. I got to handle this. This is going to take 2 seconds. Yes, available to go there. We are filming overnight tomorrow. Yes, available. All this stuff is right. Upload a current selfie. Sorry, guys. Let's take 2 seconds. Take photo. Ding. I'm just going to do this real quick. Photo library. Anyway, so sorry about this. This is just part of the gig. I'm an actor. I'm here. I live in Hollywood, California, Los Angeles, Hollywood, California. And when you get these, you have to just answer right away because they're jobs. This is how I make money. So I just submitted. Okay, that's done. All right, let's get back to what we were doing. Sorry about that, everybody over there on TikTok. That was a little weird, I'm sure. I'm staring at the phone. Okay, so yeah. Who else? Did everybody leave? Everybody still here? All right. Chris says it might not be so frustrating if they would communicate with us. Thank you. Like what? But then again, there is the rule. There is the rule that whenever you are coming into compliance or there's any type of compliance structure and there's an announcement like a reverse split, you cannot release material information leading up to any kind of compliance. That's kind of the guidelines, if I'm not misunderstood. So now they may be able to talk after today. And also, guys, it makes sense too, now that I'm thinking about it. The compliance guidelines are pretty strict with the FDA, with the SEC, in terms of when you're coming into compliance or whatever for the capital NASDAQ, capital markets, global markets, whatever. You cannot release material information, I believe, on the day of doing a reverse stock split. I'm not positive. We have to check on that. Let me check ChatGPT. But William says, I would prefer them to sell off IXHL 42 stocks. Yeah, to fund the other two lead programs, big early cash injection, and then proceed with the, right, exactly. It might not be so frustrating if they would communicate with this. I 100% agree. So yeah, back to the point I was thinking about. I was meditating, I was praying, I'm thinking, you know what? They expected us all to leave because they do something like this. They probably expecting most of they're expecting us to release our shares because look at the stock right now. You know what I mean? This thing, this could be just stabilization though. It could be like the shorts aren't even in here because they can't even access their account to short today. That could also be what this is. This could be just standard up and down liquidity while they're, while the whole thing is adjusting. So we don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe you guys have a lot more experience with that. Let me get into some points I was trying to make. I have some notes. So let's see. So let's get into like the mechanics of everything. So what just happened was a 30-for-1 reverse split. 30 shares became 40,000 shares became 1,333 for me. The prior 1.66 high, remember, it was $1.66 was that high. It was really like $1.73. On July 25th, my birthday, was equated to roughly $50 post-split. So now that high that we're aiming for, that we're trying to get back to, is now $50. So my goal, if you have to ask me, like, okay, well, what's your good to cancel sell order? It's definitely above $50. This is kind of, it's been an emotional roller coaster. So, but then again, you look at like what we've been through over the past 7 months since the GAD drug came out, basically. And we saw the stock, them dump 155 million shares, most likely even in one day on August 26th, when PSX 001 phase 2 results came out. And then again, that was kind of a trick too, because if you think about it, it's synthetic psilocybin. They're releasing phase 2 results on synthetic psilocybin. It's synthetic psilocybin. It's not a drug. They didn't invent a drug. They synthesized psilocybin. Everybody's been doing it. It's like, let me think. It's like selling chicken or butter or milk or eggs. You know what I mean? So they released this thing like it's this general anxiety drug, this thing, and as soon as the guy doesn't even let it go over $1 and into compliance before he dumps 155 million shares. And we have to think like, okay, I'm not a CEO, I'm not a CFO. Maybe they really needed to take that much of our money off the table. But they have now what? Oh, I forgot what it said. How much cash? Anyway, so yeah, the share price multiplied by 30, the share count divided by 30. Market cap did not change from the split alone, but it did. We did get obliterated. We lost 40% of the market cap in the last 2 days, which makes this a very tight coiling stock. When you lose 40% of your market cap and you have 60 somewhat million dollars in cash, you have a bomb. That's what we have right now. We have a bomb that's about to explode. In my opinion, I mean, you have more cash than your market cap right now. And you have, so yeah. Okay, why companies do this? They want to regain NASDAQ compliance, clearly. So today's day one. We should be marking our calendars. Today's day one. We want to improve institutional optics, right? Because we need to get back. We're on the global, right? We're on the NASDAQ global. We need to get back to the NASDAQ capital. So we want to improve institutional optics. We want to reduce volatility from sub $1 trading. We want to create room for capital raises at higher price levels. Now, let's get back to that. Somebody made a really great point yesterday. So now that where we're at, and we have 11.5 million shares. It's something like that, right? 11.5 million shares, whatever it is, 11 million something shares instead of 358 million, right? So if I needed to complete the $100 million at the market, by the way, let's just call it 85 million. Say there's $15 million left in the $100 million at the market. Remember, $100 million at the market, right? That's what's open, available, without a shelf offering, without a filing, right? So if there's like 15 million left, right? And you have a stock that's trading at $5 a share, you only need to put 3 million shares in. So it's still, because that's the mechanics of that at the market are still the same. They don't change, right? So your dilution is less and you still keep a low float while taking that $15 million, or what did I just say? Well, anyway, that $15 million and completing it. So if they were to complete the $100 million at the market, if they were to dump right now and complete it, it's not going to kill us. It's still going to be a low float. You're looking at 3 million shares at $5 a share. So now you have a 12, 13, 14 million float, 14 million share float, right? Still very tight float. This thing's a bomb. So it's going to explode. You release news now, and this is going to be an explosion. All right, let's see what else. What are you guys talking about over here? What's happening on this is Pray Trade Repeat on TikTok, Pray Trade Repeat on YouTube. I have a website called PrayTradeRepeat.com. I don't make any money for doing this. I think I make YouTube pays me $100 every 6 months. I don't make any money on TikTok. I don't charge. I don't have a Discord. I'm just here to just chat and talk with you guys, and hopefully get some people to make some comments, and hopefully I can learn something from what we're talking about today. So I'll just keep going through these points because I'm sure other people have other things to do, but let's see. So this changes the game in 3 ways. It's a lower float, which means higher volatility. The capital raises will require fewer shares to generate meaningful cash. I just said that, so I'm like reading my own mind. Dilution becomes more efficient per dollar raised, right? So remember, before we're dumping hundreds of millions of shares to make $2 million or whatever, to make a few $1 million. Now we're dumping 3 million shares to make $15 million or something like that. I don't know. I need some more caffeine. Wow, this thing is reading my mind. Yeah, the notes. The 100 million at the market facility at ATM allows the company to sell shares gradually into the market strength before the split. To raise 100 million at 50 cents required 200 million shares. After the split, at $5 per share, they need 20 million shares. At $10 per share, they need 10 million shares. Same dollar amount, far fewer shares. That is why dilution pressure feels lighter structurally after a reverse split. It does not remove dilution, it compresses it. But that said, there's probably not much left of that $100 million at the market. So the big question for everyone now is, are they going to complete it? And then 20 minutes later, release a filing saying we've completed the at the market. Everyone gets happy, the stock runs, and then they release another one an hour later that says that we're doing another 100 million or another 50 million or whatever. So, because it is phase 3. So let's talk about phase 3. What about phase 3? This is a key strategic question, is phase 3. Phase 3 trials are expensive. They are. Depending on indication and size, cost can range from 30 million to 100 million. If IXHL is positioning for phase 3 of IHL 42X, the obstructive sleep apnea drug, or a larger psychiatric indication expansion, they will need capital. So the ATM likely serves one of 3 purposes: funding phase 3 directly, strengthening the balance sheet, negotiating from a position of cash strength. Let's jump into a question, then we'll go into the bullish thesis and the bearish thesis. End of phase 2, excuse me, Chris says, end of phase 2 results out directly after 10 days compliance. All right. Oh, that's a good point. This is why I do this. This is why I come on live. I get more from what you guys say, obviously. So yeah, probably going to wait till the compliance period's over, right? Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a brilliant note. Anyway, yeah, Chris says end of phase 2 results out directly after the 10 days compliance, probably. 2 weeks, or maybe the last day of compliance, Thursday, the 12th of March, before the market opens. That's a great point. Really great point. 8OB says, I also thought reverse split was last resort. I'm sure CEO mentioned this. Yeah, the guy, again, you don't want to get me started on Joel Latham and the company and the capital management. I don't want to get negative. So, because I can get really nasty. So I want to say this and move on. I agree with you. Thursday's big news days for IXHL. It's true. And, as we're talking, we're watching this thing coil. And, if you look at the chart that I created there and that price box I created there, I basically created a price box that is based on what I see as support, which is 4.26, and what I see as resistance, which is 5.40. If we pop through and start living in this upper half of that price box today, and then break through 5.40, I think we run into from there to the $8 range, get right back to where we were before this reverse split announcement. That's pretty confident thinking, though, because there's a huge sell-off. There's a huge sell-off, and but it makes you think, and this is why we're here. We're here to think. Like, this is such a great point. Are people waiting for the 10 days for the compliance period? So that, and when they come into compliance, does it go from, is this just compliance for the NASDAQ capital? Then what does it have to do for the NASDAQ global? Does anybody know? Can anybody answer that question? Like, once we're in compliance for capital, are we in compliance for global? Are we back on the NASDAQ global again? Trading, you know what I mean? So that is, and there you go. And as I talk, and this is why I talk, this is why I like talking live, because there you go. There's our war. This is the war that we're about to fight. So you have a 10-day compliance period. Obviously, we want to come into compliance. We want to uplist. We want to uplist from the global back to the NASDAQ capital, and we want to stay in a range that is above, a decent level, that institutional investors would look at, which is obviously, the consensus is $5 a share. You know what I mean? So say we uplist, we come out, we go uplist back to the NASDAQ capital markets. We're above $5 a share. Usually they want you to trade that way for like 30 days before people are going to take a really big position. But then again, like Chris said, maybe we trade that way. We uplist to the NASDAQ capital, then they release the news and their plans for phase 3. It gaps up considerably, probably into the, I don't know. I mean, this is a really tight float. So it could gap up hard, so yeah, that's where we're at. That's kind of where we're at. Let's see. So the bullish thesis is this. Hey, everybody on TikTok, what's happening? Oh, so we're looking at the chart. If you guys want to see what we're looking at on TikTok, there it is. Looking at the chart. There's my YouTube live. There's my ChatGPT there on the side, which I'm reading my notes from. So the bullish thesis is phase 2 data showed up to 83% apnea index reduction. That's extremely strong efficacy in OSA. 2, the reduced float post-split is a tighter structure and amplifies upside if momentum returns. If shorts cover, institutional accessibility improves many funds. And what is the days to cover, guys? It's like 3 or 4 days, right? Could be more now. I'm sure we don't even know, but it's going to be like 3 or 4 days to cover. Institution, maybe more because it's a tighter float. I don't know. How does that work? Institutional accessibility improves. Many funds cannot touch sub $5 stocks. Yeah, that's what I was just saying. Everything I was about to say. It says, let's see what else. What's happening in TikTok? Okay. Number 4, ATM becomes more efficient. They can raise capital with fewer shares issued. Right. Exactly. We already said that. 1.55 days to cover on Fintel. Okay, that's not that big news day for IXHL. 1.5, 1.5 days. for a tight float like this, 1.5 days is a nice run. That's a nice pop, but it's not going to get us into the 20s and 30s to get all our money back. Right, guys? Like, I need $30 a share to get my money back. I don't know about you guys, but I think I need like that. Yeah. I need $30 a share to recoup my losses. Any of you guys that are on here, you all look really familiar. Everybody that's on here right now, but anybody that got in that's new, you're so lucky you got in. You made it, and if you set yourself up with a nice position in this company, good for you. Welcome to the club, to the country club here. We've got 3 incredible assets. Rheumatoid arthritis, $42 billion addressable market, IHL 42X, obstructive sleep apnea, $9 or $10 billion addressable market, and PSX001, 9 or 10 billion anxiety, synthetic psilocybin. And, like I've been talking about, I'm a psychology student. I study addiction studies. I study psychology, I'm just a psychology student. But I will say this, a big portion of the psychology stuff is how treatment-resistant depression, TRD, is being treated with synthetic psilocybin. So even though they kind of pulled a fast one on us with that phase 2 results for PSX001 and then dumped 155 million shares into a synthetic drug, like, it's not like they created a drug. We got so excited and I did anyway. I kept buying all the way down. I bought the falling knife all the way down. Okay. Chris is saying 0 shares to borrow currently. Interesting. I wonder if that's just because it's restructuring. Also, like, are options available again for this now? That's a big question. Can people trade options on this now, or not yet? Right? That would be crazy, because before, there's like a year of not being able to trade options on this. Who knows if we can even? I would buy some call options. So yeah, not yet. Okay, cool. So let's see. Let's keep going. The ATM becomes more efficient because it's a tighter structure. They can raise capital with fewer shares, and it still remains a tight structure. In phase 3 is announced, the narrative shifts from speculative biotech to late stage asset. Yes, but you have to wonder, like, on that announcement, in end of phase 2, this is what we're going to do for phase 3, or is it going to be end of phase 2? We've sold that drug, and boom. You know what I mean? Now we're holding $20, $30 stock or more, right? Well, then there's going to be more shares. Well, I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. I'm really confused on that, because we were working with so many shares, 358 million shares, and we were doing it for so long that, like, my mind is like mush now in terms of structure. But yeah, you have to look at, like, we have a company. Listen, as much as I hate what they did with the capital structure, this is what companies do. This is what penny stock preclinical biotech companies do. They're only here to raise money. Their understanding is that we understand that. They're like, okay, hey, welcome everybody. You do know we're going to take your money. That's kind of like that's what this is. Did they take way too much? Yeah, he took way too much. And we could be in compliance. In my opinion, probably we could have been in compliance by now. Are they going to take more? Most likely. Am I going to sell on a good to cancel order on a huge pop? Maybe. I might set a sell order at $50 a share, which is like, that's only 10 times. When we did on July 25th, the stock ran from 18 cents or 24th, whatever. It was a couple of days. It ran from like 18 cents a share to 173. So, Alexa, what percentage of 1.73 is 0.18?
0.18 is about 10.4% of 1.73.
So it ran 10 times. So if this runs 10 times, it's $50. Same thing. Yeah, obviously. Duh, I'm an idiot. Yeah. So yeah, 10 times. So it could easily pop and run 10 times or more, you know, so it would be $50, $100 for the day or whatever. I don't know. It seems it's so weird now with this 11 million float after it's, you know, watching this thing for 7 or 8 months. Okay. So potential partnerships. If big pharma steps in, valuation multiples expand. That leads us to this, right? So yeah, potential partnerships, you know, if big pharma steps in, valuation multiples expand. It gets really valuable really quickly. Now, if IXHL successfully transitions into phase 3 with strong data and adequate funding, the market will start pricing probability of approval rather than survival. Okay, so if IXHL successfully transitions into phase 3 with strong data and adequate funding, the market will start pricing in probability of approval rather than survival. This is a major re-rating event. Okay. All right. Let's see. Anybody else have anything to say? Any questions? We're looking at see this thing is quite, it's a right dead center of support and resistance there, in my opinion anyway, of it, which is it's like at 475. I have a low of 426. I have a high of 540. I would love to see it pop through this upper half of this price box that I've created and then break through 5.40. I think if it does that, it's going to run right back up to where we were before the reverse split announcement, and we'll be back in the $8 range again. Okay, so here's the bearish thesis, right? We got to get this out. I'm not a bear. Obviously, I'm a bull, or I wouldn't have held through this. So the bearish thesis is, okay, let's talk about it. So a reverse split often precedes dilution. Historically, many small biotechs reverse split and then issue heavily. 2, ATM overhang. Traders know shares can be sold into strength, which is not, there's not much left. That's the good news. Phase 3 risk. Larger trials fail more often than phase 2. Phase 3 risk, larger trials fail more often than phase 2. Not this one though. I don't think we're going to fail in phase 2. And I don't think we're going to fail in phase 3, but okay. Cash burn, clinical trial. Listen, if Apnimed made it through phase 3 on their sleep apnea drug, we're going to make it through phase 3 on our sleep apnea drug, right? Because we don't have a stimulant drug. So, you know, I disagree with that bearish thesis that there's a phase 3 risk. I don't think there is a risk. I think there, you know, we have an excellent asset for obstructive sleep apnea. I don't think there's going to be any issues at all. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be an issue. Very low volume ATM at about 8OB says very low volume at the market at the moment. Not many buyers. Right. Interesting. Yeah. Which makes sense. I mean, this is not the day you want to buy. You want to watch. You want to watch and see what, who's a market maker handling it, is Kenny going to come in and just fucking obliterate the stock and you know what I mean? And naked short the shit out of it and find a way to take it to $2. Cause that's what I'm looking at. I didn't average down at 14 cents. I'm waiting to see if it gets blasted into the $2 range. Then I'll start buying as much as I can and try to bring my average down. So because it's the same, believe it or not, I'm sure you guys have all figured that out, right? So, so yeah, that's most likely why nothing's happening today. There's a restructuring, there's some settlement, there's like all that stuff, I'm surprised Chris says, I'm surprised the share price is so stable at the moment. I'm not too surprised because it is day one, right? I'm not sure how much trading is allowable, yeah, it is. It's interesting. This whole thing's interesting because it's really new to me. I haven't held on to too many, I don't think any stocks through a reverse split. This is the first one I've ever held come hell or high water through the reverse split. It's actually trading right down the center of the VWAP right now. Like right down the center. It's dead VWAP right now. It has been all day. If you look at it, it's been trading right down the dead center of the VWAP. So, it's going to make a big move up or down. That's what's going to happen. So Chris, very low volume. Chris again. I'm surprised the share prices were stable. He said that expected big red candles. Yes, so did I. I thought we were just going to get destroyed on the open. But then again, like I said, could be day one, could be, restructuring, rebalancing. Like I can't even get into my account. Like I woke up this morning, I looked at my account on Merrill Edge and it was zero. I had $0 in my account. I was like, whoa, I had to call them up and be like, hey, you didn't sell my shares or what's going on here? And they said, no, it's going to take 24 hours for you to see your shares in your account again because of the new QSIP. And then let's talk about that new QSIP number. You guys know if the new QSIP number means that the shorts have to cover or no? It doesn't mean anything, right? Okay, so back to the bearish thesis, cash burn, clinical trials consume capital quickly. 5, retail fatigue, pre-split holders saw massive dilution. Historically, trust must be rebuilt. That's a great point. Trust must be rebuilt. Technical reset. The chart is effectively brand new post-split. It's like a brand new car. Prior resistance levels are psychological, not structural. If they aggressively use the ATM into weak price action, the stock can compress again. I mean, you got to be a moron. And this guy, he's proven to be really, not the brightest bulb. But if he starts diluting before compliance is over, then it's time for everybody to that. I don't know, man. Anyway, I don't even want to go there. All right. If they aggressively use the ATM, yeah. Okay. The technical translation, pre-split July 25th high was $1.66. That is the equivalent of $50 a share. That becomes a long-term psychological ceiling. Near-term traders will look for support formation above $4 to $5 range. Break and hold above post-split opening highs, right? That's what we're looking for. That's what we're looking for today. We're trading right down the middle of like a fastball, right down the middle of the VWAP right now. Break and hold above post-split levels, volume confirmation because the float is tighter, moves can be sharper in both directions. The real question is, and that's the other thing, it should be moving violently in one way or the other, and it's not. It's trading dead center. So that tells me that it's restructuring, it's rebalancing. There's so many market makers, there's so many banks, there's so many platforms, Robinhood, Fidelity, Schwab, Bank of America, Chase, Webull. All of this stuff has to balance itself, right? Somebody else said something. Chris says if he diluted before compliance, he will absolutely destroy the business. Even he couldn't be that stupid. He's pretty stupid. I think we figured out that he is pretty stupid. And honestly, I think the best thing this company could do is hire a new CEO immediately. Because you have to think, guys, look, I grew up in Scarsdale, Westchester, New York, after a really rough childhood in the Bronx and Queens, and growing up as a little kid in the inner city. I was adopted, you know what I mean? Then my aunt came and adopted me, and she brought me to Scarsdale, which is like the Beverly Hills in New York, right? So now I'm in Beverly Hills, and and what I learned going from poverty to living in Westchester and with wealthy people, and my aunt and uncle weren't wealthy. They were firemen, and she worked at General Foods. But what I learned is that people don't do business with criminals. Warren Buffett says there's no way. I'm gonna misquote him, but there's no way to do a good deal with a bad person. So anyway, I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to go down that road. But I think it's time for a new CEO. I think it's like, here you go, buddy, take your shares, take your money, and please leave us alone. We've had enough of you. We've absolutely had enough of you. You know what I mean? The only thing that Joel can do right now to impress us as shareholders is to prove to us that he can get a deal done. And that's what we're waiting for, So we'll see. You know what I mean? Get a deal done. Get a deal done. Sell this for a minimum of $7 billion. You know what I mean? Or more. You know what I mean? But that or actually more than that. We're gonna need at 11 million shares, $7 million. What is that? Alexa, what is 11 and a half? million? Wait, Alexa, stop. Alexa, what is 11.5 million? Alexa, stop. Alexa, what is $7 billion divided by 11.5 million? She didn't know. Let me find out. Let me ask chat. What is $7 billion divided by 11.5 million shares? We're going to find out right now. So like say we get a buyout for $7 billion, you get 11.5 million shares, and it happens right now, tomorrow or Monday morning. Holy smokes. Well, that would be nice, guys. So that would be $608 a share for a $7 billion buyout, which is minimum what IHL 42X is worth, I think, if you're just gonna buy it, right? Here, I'm gonna put it in the chat. So yeah, 7 billion divided by 11.5 million shares is $608 per share. I think we'd be happy with that. Anyway, so let's get back to that. Let's finish these points up, and we're almost done. Here, and what do I do? Okay, what to watch next? Yeah, let's do it. Okay. So yeah, the technical translation support formula. Yeah, we want support above $5. Obviously, we want to break and hold above the post split opening highs, like I've been saying. That's why I made this price box. And look at it; it's trading right down the middle of the VWAP. Right now, it's a little bit below the VWAP, right? But most of the day, it's been trading dead center. So that candle, I'm sure, is going to come back right back up into that blue line again. And that low is 4.26. The high is 5.4. We need to bust through 5.4. We'll run up to the $8 range. Because the float is tighter, moves can be sharper in both directions. The real question is this: A, a survival dilution cycle, or B, a structured capital raise before phase 3 acceleration? Obviously, it's B. Obviously, this is a structured capital raise before phase 3 acceleration. Come on, man, right? Whether we like this guy or not, and everything that happened, that's what's happening. We can all agree there. The answer determines valuation. If they are funding growth, dilution is strategic. If they are funding survival, dilution is defensive. Let's just get the D word out of like we've already got the RS happen. We don't need to talk about the D word right now. What to watch next? Official phase 3 announcement, update cash runway and guidance, ATM usage disclosures, institutional ownership changes. Please get a new CEO, somebody that can that's a closer. You know what I mean? You don't give leads to the guy who mops the floor, right? You give leads to the closer. Is Joel a closer? I don't know. We hope so. $7 billion, Joel. That's what we want. $608 a share. Let's see. Insider buying or selling. Okay, the big picture. The reverse split does not change fundamentals. It changes structure. Structure influences how capital is raised. Capital determines whether phase 3 happens. Phase 3 determines valuation trajectory. IXHL now sits at a pivot point between capital discipline and capital dependence. This is the story. That's it. So yeah, that's kind of like the bottom line there, man. Where structure influences how capital is raised. Capital determines whether phase 3 happens. Look, we have capital. We have $60 million. I mean, even at like a $10 million, that's 6 months at 10 million, right? 60 million, right? So let's see. Hopefully we get the news, we get a pop, we get our money back, we set our stop losses after that. You know what it is? I'll say this and shut up, and we'll shut it down. Look, Joel has got to prove to shareholders, or us, right, that held through, that he thought would never hold on. He thought he was just going to rinse and repeat shareholders, right? He doesn't even want us. We're like the lowly, dirty penny stock guys, right? And he thought he was just going to wash us and sweep us under a rug. And, we would capitulate and just give him our cash. And now he's going to move on. And what he needs to prove to shareholders now is that A, that he can close a deal, and B, that he can manage the capital and stop being a greedy pig. Yes, you need money for phase 3, but do you need money for phase 3 if you can close a deal with one of these major pharmaceutical companies, right? That's a big question. So those are the two questions. Is he the guy? to close the deal, right? One. Yes, he has a board of experts and professionals that have done stuff like this. Yeah. But is Joel the guy to close the deal? Because again, I like you guys, if you really think about it, like it doesn't matter what you have. Like Warren Buffett says, there's no good way to do a bad deal, or there's no way to do a good deal with a bad person. Is Joel the person? We hope so. We hope Joel will prove to shareholders that he is going to get this deal done. And if he doesn't, it's and then they try to move into phase 3 on their own, and there's not going to be any kind of partnership, merger, any kind of deal whatsoever. Well, then you can expect that he's going to do what he does, which is be a duck. He's going to, if it walks like a duck and it talks like a duck, it's a duck. If we move into phase 3, there's no partnership, there's no announcement, there's nothing happens, and IXHL 40 Inconex decides to try to make the drug on their own, which they can. You can expect that he's going to obliterate the stock all over again, and in 3 months there's going to be 300 million shares. Anyway, I don't want to end on a negative note. Let's hope for the best. Listen. This could have been a lot worse. We could have opened with a giant red bar into the $2 range, right? So let's hope for the best, guys. Any other comments before I shut it down? Chris says dilution now, only real bear thesis left. If Joel wants to prove himself, he won't do it, and he'll close the ATM. Yeah, man. Like this guy, like, can you think like, man, you need to announce, you need to make the 8K, release the 8K. At the market complete. No need for further dilution right now. No new shelf offering, right? But here's the thing. You have to ask yourself, if we see the completion announcement followed by another shelf offering and accessing the other 400,000 or 400 million shares that are available out of the 800 million original shares on that shelf from April, right? April filing, read the filing, 800 million share shelf. They used $100 million at the market and used up about 450 million shares in that 800 million share shelf, maybe less, maybe more. So it's still 400,000 shares in that shelf for them to do equity raises with, right? So you have to ask yourself, this guy's got to show us a partnership, a deal, a merger, and a great readout. And it's like, I would suggest this, if they release news that they got the great readout and this and that, everything's great, and the stock runs that day, you may want to take profit or cash out, or probably not profit. You may want to get out somewhere during that day, because the next announcement, most likely, if it's not a partnership or a merger with a major pharmaceutical company and he hasn't gotten the deal done, you know what he's going to do. Why would he do anything else, right? He's going to obliterate the stock again and take cash, because he has to. He has to go into phase 3 now. He's got rheumatoid arthritis. He's got IHL 42X. It's got PSX 001. These are going to be all 3 excuses of why he's going to dilute the stock again. So let's hope for a partnership. Let's hope for a big deal. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks, everybody on TikTok. Thank you on YouTube. Please like, subscribe. The followers help. I don't sell anything. I don't, if you like it, subscribe, it's good, I guess, right? I don't know. I like I said, I don't make any money doing this. I make $100 off. YouTube pays me $100 every 6 months. That's how much money I make. TikTok doesn't pay me anything ever. So that's it, guys. Have a good day. Thanks so much for coming in, and thanks for the great comments. Those are brilliant comments. Some of these comments today. So I hope you guys, have a great day. And if you want, share the link. Thanks. Have a good one.